an absolute paradigm shift. Never before has the power to create, generate, disseminate, publish, criticize, receive comment back been in the hands of people so young. It is an extraordinary change, and it's fundamentally altering and having a huge impact on society. Largely though, one important caveat, apart from, for example, the audience like we have here, generally people over 35 are unaware that this massive change is taking place. People's got 31 million users, and we're huge in Ireland, absolutely huge. That's my own country. And I think I understand why it's such an amazing tool, because it's not just about talking to your friends, it's talking about to people all over the world, and there's a huge Irish diaspora all over the world, and young people travel a lot. We keep in touch with each other. We were the #1 Google search term in 2006. And I'm just giving you this as background. 8 million plus UK users. And what do they like to do? They want to share photos, videos, and communicate with one another. Now, we're very engaged. The average user spends about 41 minutes per day. 41 minutes per day. So that's the kind of background. Now I want to talk about something about the I generation. Young people who've only known the internet. They've only known the world with the internet in it. And for adults, for the older generation to conceptualize that, it's sometimes a bit of an effort for us to understand that they can have an appreciation of accessing information all the time, connecting to people when they want to, extending their real world activities, and creating a collaborative online environment. Now, when you look at the government's e-strategy in the Department for Education about harnessing technologies, the silver bullet, the thing that they want to do is promote kids having e-portfolios, collaborative working learning environments. It's not necessarily taking off, this is my personal opinion, in the education environment. Precisely those ingredients are happening on sites like Bebo. Precisely those ingredients. So there are alterations in patterns of media consumption, creation, and dissemination. And there's that tension amongst teachers. They're not getting the teacher training, which will empower them to engage in collaborative spaces. And in a study in the US with 4,000 teachers, it was found statistically significant that those teachers who use the internet for both personal and professional interactions in collaborative space were much more likely to get their students to do the same. And they were the teachers that when you sit in a classroom you think, "Captain, oh my captain." They are the inspiring, thought-provoking teachers in the classroom. Those ones who know the technology and understand its value. I was going to talk about all the safety features, I'll come on to those in a minute, but I want to share with you one of the ideas that we're pushing in Bebo and developing. There's extraordinary positive and pro-social behaviors on Bebo. Organizations, people setting up connections between, for example, parents who have children with autism, from that level of a grassroots connection and network, right up to end world poverty and organizations that are trying to work toward that. How do we move social networking onto the next chapter? The next chapter will be making it's difficult at the moment to discover all of those organizations and people. How do we create a central hub around which you make it very easy for people to connect their networks with other networks and create super networks so that young people and young adults have an opportunity to affect the world around them? How do we tap into that activism and that need for seeing justice in the world, the need to support other people? How do we do that? We're looking at participation, innovation, how do we promote inclusion, and crucially, how do we measure the positive impact of all of these activities? Through Bebo Be One is one mechanism. We've created 4 pillars, and I'd love some feedback from you guys if we've got this right. The first pillar is Be Inspired, a place where you can showcase your talents. For example, there are lots of, there's a whole community of slam poets. Do you know, how many of you are familiar with slam poets? Yeah, it's like rap, amazing, but for them to get theatre space is incredibly difficult. So the idea is to create this area where they can come together and exchange their ideas about their passions, and then put them next to experts and resources and the kind of theatre people that they need to connect with. So it's kind of putting the network so people can discover one another. because of looking at activism, all of the issues that are really important to young people. How do they connect with the organisations that are going to affect that change? And the really crucial thing is that all of this information needs to be at people's fingertips. If you're spending on average 41 minutes, and that's probably a conservative estimate, online every night, you want to be able to access them from within your community. Be Enriched is about discovering career paths and extraordinary ways in which you can get to a fulfilling life. So just to go through these quickly, I've kind of gone through them. We're getting graphic designers, people who are really talented, and you know what, people are not, who are interested, who would like to learn more from other people and connecting them with others, and creating increased opportunity for creativity and innovation. In Be Well, we've got on average a statistic that the Americans give out, 1 in 6 children have, and young people have an emotional issue at some point in their lives or a psychological issue. We need to ensure that when they're spending so much time in these areas that we give them access to a wellbeing centre and work with organisations that will provide them with the emotional support. Now you may be asking, how is that related to safety? We need to take a holistic approach to keeping people safe online. It's not simply enough to go, there's scary people out there and you need to do this, that, and the other. It is about understanding the whole person from a holistic point of view. Why are they vulnerable? Maybe because a young person is vulnerable, a teenager is vulnerable because there's some big thing happening in their lives. So they need a bit of support. So let's put that support there. Maybe they're vulnerable because they're feeling they're not connecting with enough like-minded people. So having a holistic approach to ensuring people's well-being certainly serves to minimise their vulnerability to the risks. Be Enriched is about getting entrepreneurs, volunteers, practitioners together so people can have conversations about their lifestyle choices, their career paths, their aspirations. Just think outside the box. One of the speakers spoke this morning about us having this work ethic and that it's not going to match when these young people leave school. There's going to be a mismatch. So why not start a dialogue around those sorts of issues and get people thinking about those things? E-citizenship is one of the core things that we're pushing towards in the future as a whole society. The idea of e-democracy and understanding our social roles and responsibilities. How do we get that dialogue going amongst young adults and all of the people who are responsible for ensuring that we have a good society? We're creating an opportunity for people to listen to lots of different views and to be heard and to interact and to put videos up there and to have also Bebo Be One is about being an individual, being one person, but it's also about being one voice about the issues that are important to you. So that's our kind of overall holistic strategy. And okay, just a few minutes. The risks we're trying to minimise relate. This is the kind of content standards we're putting in place. Just to give an idea, because sometimes it's assumed that maybe industry isn't doing enough in terms of putting those safety measures in place that will minimise risk. The risks that people are concerned about is people accessing porn, inappropriate content, and also inappropriate contact from teens bullying other teens or teens bullying teachers also. So how are we trying to minimise those risks? There's a big policy group that is chaired by the Home Office that's developing best practice guidance for social networking services and interactive services. We've been working since June, putting these best practice guidelines together about where safety information should be, what relationships you should have with police, how to promote a better experience for young people online. So we're implementing all of those best practice guidelines. We're using cutting-edge moderation tools. So the images that are going up are reviewed technically with a technical solution, an image filtering solution, and those are reviewed. Anything that's flagged as inappropriate are used then by our human moderation team. So there are all the organisations that we're working with to adhere to a self-regulation model. These are just for information. If anybody wants more information about the actual safety features we're putting in place, all profiles are private by default. We've got a report abuse link on every single page. And the next big thing, just to kind of round up, is that all of this is just about to become more complex as we move into a mobile environment. As you have social networking services moving into the mobile environment, and that will create a whole different set of dynamics, which will be very interesting to do. We also provide tools that enable user moderation, so users can choose to pre-screen the comments on their site, they can delete comments, and we have the reported use link. I think Bebo Be One is a way in which Bebo is going to differentiate itself in terms of all of those things which I've spoken about again, and I would be really eager, I am really eager to get any feedback from you guys. My contact is rachel@bebo.com. Okay, and thank you very much for your time.